Hey, beautiful people, welcome or welcome back to Well with Mika, where we talk real wellness for your real life. I'm Mika, your cultural wellness ally. And today I just want you to think about something for a second, all right? Is there something, anything that you've been telling yourself that you just can't do? It's like, oh, nah, I can't do that. That ain't for me. Maybe it's running, maybe it's yoga, dancing, or even just going to like a regular fitness class. And then the reason you give yourself is, oh, my body ain't made for that, or my body isn't right for that. Maybe you think you're too old, too stiff, maybe too inflexible, too late to start. And and sometimes you even grow up in a culture where it's like fitness, that's not even that's not a thing, or it wasn't accessible. Or maybe movement, it was tied to punishment, so that adds another mental or emotional obstacle for you to overcome. Now, I bring this up because I came across this story. I mean, it truly was inspiring, and it really reminded me, how you need to just sometimes drop kick your excuses in the face, because that's what they are. They're just excuses. And I think that it might do the same thing for you. All right. So the article I came across is about a woman named Michelle Herman. So Michelle Herman started taking ballet classes at, drum roll, age 62. Excuse me? 62, okay? And I'm not no gentle movement for seniors. Homegirl went into straight ballet, all right? Not ballet inspired stretching, real ballet at the bar in ballet slippers, learning the same combinations that the youngins are learning, the 20-year-old dancers learning. And by traditional ballet standards, she says it. Everything about her body, she said, was quote unquote wrong. She had archless feet, she has weak ankles, short legs, wide hips, and no natural grace. Her balance is terrible, and she has a soft body. Okay, but at 70 years old, 8 years after she started, she's still doing ballet. I mean, she's taken up to 4 ballet classes in a single day. That's a lot. All right. She performs. She calls herself. She's grew into calling herself a dancer without apology. She's like, nah. Before there was a mental block, she probably felt like dancer. Like, no, that's not what I am. I dabble. But now 8 years in, she graduated, baby. She's like, no, sweetheart. I'm a 70-year-old dancer, and yes, I just started 8 years ago. What? Can't tell her nothing, okay? Now, the thing about Michelle is so beautiful. She's a writer and a teacher, and as I said, she took her first ballet class at 62. And over these 8 years, she's logged over 5,000 hours in ballet classes, plus another 1,600 hours doing other dance forms. I mean, and the way she describes her process, the journey, she says she's constantly sore. She manages chronic injuries. She goes to PT, physical therapy, twice a week, even though she's like, at this point, she knows exactly what she needs to do, but she still goes. She takes Epsom salt baths after class. She ices her back while she's eating dinner. And then she's foam rolling every evening. I mean, she talks about throwing her back out, just picking up paper from off her desk. But what she says is that she does not get discouraged. All the pain management, the PT, the ice and heat, is just, it comes with the territory. It's part of the deal. And the most powerful part is that she didn't start because her body was perfect for it. That's what I want you to take from this. She didn't start because, oh, my body is just right for this. I'm going to just do it. No. She started anyway, and she keeps showing up not despite her body, but with her body, exactly as it is. What she writes in the article is that she has never been happier. And every day, she says she thinks that every day in every class that she takes. Oh my gosh, who does not want to feel that when they're talking about movement and the movement that they choose to do? If you listen to it, she's not saying that it's easy, but she's saying that she enjoys it. And because she enjoys it, she's going to keep doing it. So she writes, nothing about me is right for ballet, but I love it so much. And the lesson is your body doesn't have to be right. And the best time to start is now. You know, how many of us have looked at movement and thought, that's not for bodies like mine. I'm too heavy for running, too inflexible for yoga, too uncoordinated to dance, too old to start. But you know, movement isn't about having the right body, it's about showing up with the body you have. Look, you have one body. I mean, you know, barring the whole surgery thing, but you have one body. And discovering, you know, what it can do is one of the best things that you can do for it and with it. So the question isn't, is my body right for this? The question is, what kind of movement brings you that happiness that hits, you know, that sparks that joy and supports your well-being right now? You know, the question isn't, is, you know, is this something I should be doing? It's like, can I do this? You know, is this something that I can feasibly, physically do and financially do and just, you know, do it? And trust me, I've had those moments too. You know, I've had them throughout my life. I've had them since I was a child, okay? Since being a adolescent, I've had those moments where it's like, oh, I'm too old to start. I'm too. And now at my big age, I realize how foolish that thinking was, you know? And Michelle's story just drives that point home even more. It's at 62. I mean, look, you know, thinking that you need to wait for the right time or the right body, you know, it's just not the truth, you know? And those moments that I've grown past and realized that, you know, there's never perfect conditions. The moment to start is now, you know? And that's what I want you to do, because look, there's the research is there. We've talked about it before. You know, research shows that movement in almost any form is one of the most powerful tools that we have for both physical and mental health. So, according to the CDC, regular physical activity can lower your risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers by up to 50%. And it also reduces your symptoms of depression and anxiety and helps improve your sleep, your energy, and your brain health. And, you know, all these things we've mentioned before, and it doesn't have to mean hits in the gym. The Lancet Public Health Journal found that just 10 to 15 minutes of light movement per day, walking, stretching, or even dancing in your kitchen, that can extend your lifespan and significantly lower your disease risk. So when we're talking about moving our bodies, we're not talking about punishment or perfection. We're talking about, you know, that happiness, that energy you get, the vibes, the vitality, and that self-connection. Because beyond the science, movement, it really just connects us back to life, to rhythm, to laughter. And, you know, especially for older people who often report feeling invisible, it connects you to being seen, okay? So lesson number 2 I want you to take from this is community keeps you coming back. What Michelle talks about, she says the dance studio is now her whole social life. She stretches with friends before class. She trades tips about sore muscles, cheers people on. You know, when someone nails a difficult move for the first time, that's, you know, that's a happy place. This is her social spot, you know. Remember our conversation about heart health? You know, social connection is literally cardioprotective. It lowers your risk of disease as much as any medication. And Michelle, she found her community at 62 in a place where she never expected. The relationships became as important as the movement itself. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do 4 classes a day and make that your whole social life, but it's just a reminder, you know. Where could you find that? Maybe it's a walk-in group, a fitness class, a recreation league, or even an online community. But movement with others is medicine. Now, lesson 3, discomfort doesn't always mean stop. You know, this is where that self-awareness comes in as well. Michelle is constantly managing pain and sitting out for weeks while healing. But she's learned the difference between pain that means damage and discomfort that means challenge. And that is what happens the more that you engage, the more that you get to know your body. She writes about the satisfying ache in her first forward fold each day and how that keeps her aware that she has a body. You know, for years, she lived without knowing that she had a body. And those are her words, you know. Many of us, we disconnect from our bodies, whether from chronic pain, body shame, or just living in our heads. Mindful movement can bring you back, okay? Bring you back to living fully in your skin. That is such an important thing that I don't think we talk about often. Yes, sometimes there'll be challenges. Yes, it's not always going to be easy. You might have to push through pain. But that is your reminder like, look, I am here in the land of the living, all right? I get to do this thing. The key is learning your body signals. And that takes time, it takes attention, and sometimes it'll take professional guidance, but it's all worth it, all right? And now the last lesson is that sometimes joy is enough. Michelle isn't training for anything. She's not trying to lose weight or achieve some aesthetic goal. She's dancing because she genuinely loves it, because it brings her happiness, because it makes her feel alive. In this current wellness culture, sometimes it just feels like movement needs to be optimized, tracked, measured. And, that has its place. But what if, for the hell of it, for the joy of it, for the happiness, how about suppose that's enough? What if moving your body in ways that make you happy is the whole point sometimes, You don't need to justify movement with calories burned or steps counted. Pleasure is also a valid reason to move, okay? This story, it really embodies what I mean when I talk about real wellness. Right for you. Michelle, she chose ballet not because her body was right for it, but because it was right for her soul. It was right for her. Energizing, despite the soreness, dancing gives her energy and joy, and that's the kind of movement that is definitely worth pursuing. Achievable. She started with beginner classes. She works with physical therapists. She makes it work with the body and the resources that she has. And lastly, of course, right? Lasting, 8 years and counting, because look, it's built on joy and community, not punishment or obligation. She's doing it because it lights her up. And now, yes, we don't live in a perfect world. We are sometimes going to do things because we have to do it, but find the joy in it, find the thing that's going to keep you coming back. So, here's what I want you to sit with. What have you been telling yourself you cannot do because your body isn't right for it? Maybe it's just walking in your neighborhood because you worry about judgment. Trying a yoga class because you're not flexible. Dancing because you think, oh, I'm too old, I'm too uncoordinated. Swimming because you're self-conscious. Or any group fitness because you're afraid of not keeping up. What if the body you have right now is the right body? What if you could start exactly where you are? So what's going to be your action plan for that? Let's get into it. I want you to identify one movement you've been avoiding, maybe one class you've been avoiding. What have you told yourself your body isn't right for or right to do? Break free of that mental jail that you put your movement in. Let that open it up, Then I want you to ask, is it truly unsafe, or am I afraid of not being good at it? There's a difference between medical limitations and fear of judgment. Then I want you to start small. Start smaller than you think you need to. Michelle started with beginner ballet at 62. You can start with a 10-minute video at home. You can start with a walk around the block. You can start with a walk through your home. Start as small as you need to, or smaller than you think you need to. Then I want you to find your people, okay? Look for beginner-friendly classes, online community, or just get one friend to move with. Then lastly, I want you to redefine success. Success is not perfection. Success is showing up. Success is joy. Success is being present in your body. Let's redefine that. So, Michelle, she found her calling later in life at 62 with a body that she describes as all wrong for it. And at 70, she's still happy. She's happier than she's ever been. She's dancing daily, and she's living fully in her imperfect, aging, chronically sore body. Your body doesn't have to be right, quote unquote. It just has to be yours. It is yours, and it's ready right now. As I've mentioned many times, wellness doesn't mean perfection. It really means participation. So whether it's a walk, a dance, a stretch, a dance in your kitchen, a stretch in your kitchen, your living room. Let your movement remind you that you're still growing, you're still learning, you're still here, and you're still worthy of all the happiness that movement can bring. So thank you, as always, for joining me on today's episode, and I hope it spoke to you, and if it did, I would love for you to share it with someone. Leave a comment, letting me know your thoughts, what you felt, what you're feeling, what you're going to try, and I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear about it. And don't keep waiting for the right body. Do it now. It's ready. It's ready to start moving. So until next time, take care of your body, the one that you have right now. Let it surprise you with what it can do, okay? As always, happy healthing. Peace.